Hey Hustlers, welcome back to Weekend Hustlers. I'm Pavlov.
And I'm Makita.
And we're diving deep today.
Deep.
Into Blume Ventures Indus Valley Annual Report 2025.
Yeah, we're going to try to make sense of what's happening in the Indian startup scene and the economy as a whole.
The report kicks off by taking us on a bit of a time travel journey,
Yeah.
Through the last 5 years of the Indian economy.
It's been a roller coaster, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Like from the pandemic crash to that crazy V-shaped recovery.
It's fascinating how the government's response and the RBI's low repo rates played a role in fueling that recovery.
Mm-hmm.
It really highlights the impact of well-crafted economic policies.
Yeah, for sure. But then there's always that flip side, right? Like the unintended consequences, like the surge in personal borrowing, which led to
inflation. Exactly.
And that brings us to 2025, where things are
cooling off a bit.
Yeah, tapering off a bit. Consumer spending, government expenditures have slowed down.
Right. It's all cyclical.
It really is.
The report then goes on to kind of unpack these long-term structural forces that are shaping India's economy. And one of the first things that jumps out is how much India relies on consumer spending and the services sector.
Right, and that's a stark difference from, say, China's model.
Absolutely.
So 56% of India's GDP is coming from consumer spending.
Wow.
And the services sector makes up 54%.
It's massive.
That's huge, especially when you consider that India's per capita income is still under $3,000.
Yeah, it makes you wonder about the sustainability of such a model, and it also underscores how important it is to understand the Indian consumer, their spending patterns, savings habits, investment trends, all of that.
Right.
And the report dives deep into that.
Yeah. And one interesting thing it talks about is formalization. So how the economy is slowly shifting from unorganized to organized sectors.
Yeah. And we see evidence of this in the growing number of GST pays and trends in specific markets like jewelry.
Right. Real estate.
Exactly.
But then they hit us with this statement. India doesn't save enough.
Ooh, that's a bold statement.
It is, and it's kind of alarming. Why is that the case?
Well, if you look a little deeper, there's a concerning rise in household debt, primarily driven by all these small-ticket personal loans.
Right.
So easy credit might be fueling consumption in the short term, but it's also creating a debt burden.
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword.
Absolutely.
And the report even connects this back to India's land issues and obsession with gold.
That's a fascinating link.
It is, right?
Because land is so difficult to collateralize in India, people tend to turn to gold as a safe haven.
Right.
And this has a ripple effect on everything from household savings to the current account deficit.
It makes you realize that gold is not just a cultural thing in India. It's a deeply embedded part of our economic reality.
It really is.
And then the report moves on to human capital.
Another critical aspect.
Yeah, so India has this huge demographic dividend.
So?
Massive.
But we're struggling with high youth unemployment.
Especially among the educated youth.
Which is mind-boggling, really.
It's a paradox.
It is.
And the report kind of points to our historic emphasis on getting a college degree.
Right.
Rather than focusing on primary and secondary education that actually equips people with practical skills. So we end up with a surplus of graduates, but a shortage of skilled workers.
And that obviously impacts the job market, which the report also examines.
Yeah, specifically the manufacturing sector.
Right. We've seen this push to revive manufacturing in India, but there are challenges.
Like high land costs, labor costs.
Yeah, it's a work in progress for sure.
Definitely.
Now, one concept that I found really fascinating is what they call the digital welfare state.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Right. So they talk about how DPI protocols like Aadhaar and UPI are being used for direct benefit transfers, essentially building a digital safety net.
Right. It's a very innovative approach, but like any new system, it has its own set of...
Yeah, pros and cons.
Yeah. Exactly.
And UPI especially has been revolutionary for payments in India.
Oh, absolutely. It's transformed the way we transact.
But the report also raises a point about the zero MDR model.
Right.
And how that could impact the profitability of payment service providers in the long run.
Yeah, the sustainability question always comes up.
It does, and it's something to keep in mind.
Definitely.
Now, shifting gears a bit, the report then focuses on India One.
The top 10%, the elite.
Yeah, the top 10% of earners, and they're the ones driving the equity market boom.
Right, they have the disposable income.
They do, but the report also expresses some concerns about speculative trading in the F&O market.
Yeah, that's a risk factor.
It is. And if things go south, This segment could be hit pretty hard.
For sure.
Then the report takes a deep dive into consumer behavior.
Yeah, breaking down the different segments.
Right. And one thing that stood out to me is that while India's overall consumption is impressive, the per capita consumption is actually quite low.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
And that explains why we still see low penetration in categories like financial products.
Consumer durables.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the report breaks it down further, categorizing the consumer landscape into India 1, India 2, India 3, highlighting the significant disparities.
Yeah, in spending power.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how much influence India 1 has on things like the equity markets, the experience economy, the growth of these homegrown luxury brands.
Yeah, they're a powerful force.
They really are.
But what's concerning is this idea that India 1 is deepening, not widening.
Right.
So as they become wealthier,
The gap.
the gap between them and the rest of the population just keeps growing.
Yeah, and that could create some serious social and economic challenges down the line.
Absolutely. It's something we need to be mindful of.
For sure. Now, let's move on to section 2 of the report, which focuses on Indus Valley, India's startup ecosystem.
Okay, let's dive in.
So first, they analyze funding trends, and they contrast it with global trends, So in the U.S., the VC market is booming thanks to AI,
Right.
whereas China's is kind of declining.
Yeah.
And India is seeing a slight uptick, but nowhere near,
Peak levels.
the peak levels we saw a few years ago.
Right. And late stage funding especially has been very subdued.
Very subdued. But I found it interesting that micro VCs are kind of filling the gap
Oh, yeah.
left by traditional seed funds
That are becoming more selective.
that are becoming more selective, yeah.
Interesting.
And they're focusing on these super early stage startups,
Often backing first time founders.
which is great to see.
It's a sign of a maturing ecosystem.
It is.
But then the report also highlights the challenges that startups face in securing follow on funding.
Yeah, Series B rounds are taking much longer to close.
Much longer.
And that means that startups really need to have strong unit economics and a clear path to profitability.
Right. Investors are being more cautious.
Absolutely. They're being more cautious.
Now let's talk about unicorns.
Oh, yeah. Those mythical creatures.
Right. So the report actually challenges the notion that all 117 companies with the unicorn tag actually deserve it. It urges us to look beyond valuations and really examine their performance metrics.
Right. Not all unicorns are created equal.
Exactly.
And one thing that caught my eye was this trend of reverse flip.
Reverse flip.
Yeah. So these are foreign incorporated Indian startups that are now returning home.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Regulatory changes and a more favorable public market are pulling them back.
But it comes at a price.
It does. They're getting slapped with these hefty tax bills.
Oh, for repatriation.
Or repatriation, yeah.
There's always a trade-off.
Always.
The report also talks about the rise of venture debt as a funding option.
Right. Especially in this tight equity market.
Yeah, but they also caution about the risks,
They do. They say it can be a trap.
if not managed carefully.
You have not managed carefully, exactly.
Now, on a more positive note, let's talk about India's booming IPO market.
2024 was a record year.
It was amazing.
And it seems like it's becoming much easier for companies to go public.
Even at lower revenue and market cap levels.
And the report also points out the growing number of venture-backed IPOs.
Which shows how mature India's startup ecosystem is becoming.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not just the main board. The SME IPO market is exploding as well.
Right, offering another exit path for companies.
Exactly. So it gives both startups and investors more options.
Which is great.
It is.
Now, let's dive into some specific sectors.
Okay, let's get granular.
Starting with the one that everyone's buzzing about, quick commerce.
It's the talk of the town.
It is, and it's really changing the retail landscape in India.
Yeah, and it makes sense considering our unique circumstances.
Right, we have low car ownership, smaller homes, densely populated cities.
Makes it a bit inconvenient to stock up on things.
Exactly, so quick commerce just fits perfectly.
Plus, we have this abundance of affordable labor.
Which makes the model viable. And the report highlights how quick commerce is evolving beyond just grocery delivery.
It's becoming the everything store.
It is, right, from groceries to electronics to even services.
They're delivering everything in minutes.
It's amazing how quickly it's growing.
It is, but the report also throws out this question. Is there too much hype?
Yeah. Are we getting a little carried away?
Maybe.
They analyze the growth projections, point out some potential roadblocks.
This is a good reality check.
It is. It's a reminder that explosive growth doesn't always translate into long-term success.
Very true.
Now let's switch gears to artificial intelligence, or AI.
Okay, let's talk about the future.
The report poses this big question. Will India have its own foundational AI model soon?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is, especially after China's DeepSeek moment.
Right, they made a big splash.
They did.
So why hasn't India achieved that yet?
Well, the report examines the factors holding us back, like a lack of investment in AI research.
And limited access to those powerful GPUs.
Yeah, those things are expensive.
Oh.
But there is a glimmer of hope, right? They mention recent government initiatives and a growing focus on AI research in India.
Yeah, they even draw parallels with the success of India's digital public infrastructure.
Right. And ISRO.
Showing how India can achieve remarkable things through frugal innovation.
It's exciting to think about what the future holds.
It is, and I'm personally quite optimistic.
Me too.
Now, let's move on to another fascinating section, the Indus Valley playbooks.
All right, let's see what they've got.
This is all about the strategies that startups are using to tackle the unique challenges and leverage the opportunities in the Indian market.
Okay, sounds interesting.
One playbook that caught my eye is cracking the India 2 market.
So this is a segment with rising incomes, aspirations.
Exactly, and it presents a huge opportunity for startups.
But the report warns against simply adapting Western models, right?
Yeah, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
It's about understanding the Indian consumer.
Re-engineering products to fit the Indian context.
Using things like mobile-first technologies, affordable data plans, payment solutions like UPI.
These are the tools that are unlocking the India 2 market. And they highlight some companies that are winning in this market.
Like Stage?
Kaleidofin.
Yeah, they're creating products that are accessible, affordable, and relevant.
To the needs of India 2 consumers.
And they talk about building trust with this segment.
Which requires a different approach.
Right, they're more likely to trust recommendations from people they know, people they relate to.
Word of mouth is powerful.
It is, and so are celebrity endorsements.
Absolutely.
Now, let's move on to a challenge that many e-commerce companies in India are facing.
Okay, what's that?
Those high return rates.
Ugh, a nightmare.
It's a nightmare, especially in categories like fashion and footwear.
Where fit and sizing are so important.
Yeah, and it really hurts profitability.
Makes operations a mess.
It does.
So the report breaks down the problem, explains the different types of returns, like return to origin, RTO, return to vendor, RTV.
And the factors that contribute to them, like COD orders.
Yeah, those are a big culprit.
They are.
But the report also offers some solutions.
Like nudging customers toward prepayment.
Improving address management for accurate deliveries.
Providing more detailed product information.
Yeah, to reduce that uncertainty.
And they talk about one innovative solution that's gaining traction, try and buy.
Oh yeah, where customers can actually try on clothes or shoes before they decide to keep them.
Right, it reduces the risk of returns.
And it improves customer satisfaction.
Exactly.
Now, finally, the report concludes with a framework for engaging with the Indian diaspora.
Okay, the India segment.
Yeah, they have immense potential, both as consumers and as a source of investment. They have a strong emotional connection to India.
Right, and they're eager to support businesses that align with their values and heritage.
And the report provides a framework for understanding this diverse segment, categorizing them based on affluence, affiliation with India.
It's a valuable tool for brands.
Absolutely.
And the key takeaway for me is that authenticity is crucial.
Yeah, the diaspora isn't just looking for products.
They're looking for experiences that resonate with their cultural identity.
It's about tapping into that emotional connection, creating a sense of belonging.
Exactly.
So that's a wrap for part 1 of our deep dive into the Indus Valley Annual Report 2025.
Join us for part 2, where we'll continue exploring this fascinating report.
We'll be back soon.
And don't forget to subscribe to Weekend Hustlers on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
To stay tuned for more deep dives into the world of business and entrepreneurship.
Until next time, happy hustling.
Welcome back to Weekend Hustlers.
We're diving right back into the Indus Valley Annual Report 2025.
And you know, there's one sector we really need to explore further.
Oh, yeah.
Quick commerce.
Quick commerce, it's changing the retail game in India.
Absolutely. It's all about speed and convenience.
Yeah, getting those groceries and essentials delivered to your doorstep in minutes.
Like, it's crazy how fast this model is growing.
The report highlights like a 24x increase
in
order values since FY22.
That's massive.
It's just mind-blowing how quickly this is catching on.
And challenging traditional retail.
Yeah, but what I find fascinating is that quick commerce's success in India, it's really rooted in our unique characteristics.
Yeah.
Think about it. We have low car ownership,
Yeah.
smaller homes.
Densely populated cities.
It makes it so inconvenient to stock up on things.
Absolutely.
So quick commerce just makes sense here.
It's the perfect solution.
It is. And then you add in the fact that we have an abundance of affordable labor.
Right.
The model just becomes even more attractive.
It's like quick commerce was made for India.
It really was.
And the report also points out that it's not just about grocery delivery anymore.
Oh, yeah,
Quick
right.
commerce is evolving.
Yeah.
It's becoming this one-stop shop. Players like Blinkit are expanding their offerings aggressively.
Blinkit's a great example.
Yeah.
From groceries to electronics, even services.
It's the new everything store.
It is. Delivering anything you need in minutes.
But the report doesn't shy away from asking the tough questions.
Oh, which
like,
kind of?
is there too much hype surrounding quick commerce?
Are we getting carried away by the excitement?
Maybe.
It's a valid question.
It is. And they dive into the unit economics of quick commerce,
Yeah.
showing how these companies are actually achieving profitability.
While expanding rapidly.
Yeah, it's impressive.
It's about leveraging scale, optimizing those delivery networks,
Right.
driving higher average order values.
Making it work.
Making it work. Yeah.
One thing that I found really interesting was how quick commerce is contributing to formalization.
Oh, tell me more.
So by partnering with established brands, these platforms are bringing more transactions into the organized sector,
Right,
which is
yeah.
great for tax compliance, transparency.
It's a win-win for both brands and the government.
Absolutely. Brands get access to this new, rapidly growing channel to reach consumers.
And the government gets increased tax revenue.
Exactly.
Now, what about the impact on existing players like FMCG brands?
That's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah, how so?
On one hand, quick commerce provides them with this high-growth channel to reach consumers.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's a potential disruptor
Because
it levels the playing field for D2C brands.
interesting.
So they can compete directly with these established giants.
It's breaking down the barriers to entry.
It is, and the report cites Dabu as an example.
Okay.
Over 30% of their beverage sales
Wow.
now come from quick commerce.
That's a significant chunk.
It is. It shows how quickly this channel is becoming a force to be reckoned with.
We can't forget about the Kirana stores, though.
Right, the traditional mom and pop shop.
The backbone of Indian retail.
Yeah, there's a growing concern about the impact quick commerce might have on their survival.
The report actually shares a case study
Oh, interesting.
of a Kirana store owner in Bangalore
Okay.
who's experiencing both demand and supply-side pressures.
From quick commerce,
Yes.
it's a real challenge for them.
It is. It makes you wonder about the long-term consequences.
For employment, for our communities.
Yeah, we need to think about how we can support these Kirana stores.
Absolutely.
Ensure that they can adapt to this changing landscape.
It's about finding a balance, making sure everyone benefits.
Right, so while quick commerce offers convenience and speed.
We need to be mindful of the broader impact.
Absolutely.
So, shifting gears from the fast-paced world of quick commerce,
Okay.
let's talk about something that has the potential to transform how we live and work. Artificial intelligence.
AI, it's the future.
The report asks a crucial question. Will India have its own foundational AI model soon?
It's a question on everyone's mind, especially after China's DeepSeek moment.
Right, they created their own.
So why hasn't India had its own DeepSeek yet?
They break it down, citing factors like limited investment in AI research.
Yeah, lack of access to those powerful GPUs.
Those things are expensive.
They are.
But the report does offer a glimmer of hope,
Oh, good.
highlighting recent government initiatives
Okay.
and the growing emphasis on developing India's own AI capabilities.
That's good to hear.
They even draw parallels with India's success in building its digital public infrastructure.
And ISRO.
Yeah, remember, India has a knack for achieving great things through frugal innovation.
It makes you wonder, could we be on the cusp of an AI breakthrough?
I'm optimistic.
Me too.
Now, let's explore the Indus Valley playbooks a bit further.
Okay, these are those strategies for startups navigating the Indian market.
Right, one playbook that I keep coming back to is cracking the India 2 market.
This segment, with its rising income and aspirations,
It's a massive opportunity.
it is. But the report cautions against simply adapting Western models.
Yeah, it's about re-engineering products to fit the Indian context.
Mobile-first technologies, affordable data plans, payment solutions like UPI,
These are the tools that are unlocking this market. And they highlight companies like Stage,
and Kaleidofactor.
who are winning in this market by creating products that are accessible and relevant to the needs of these consumers.
And they talk about building trust with India to consumers, which requires a different approach.
Absolutely. They're more likely to trust recommendations from people they know, people they relate to.
So influencer marketing, celebrity endorsements, those are key.
They're very effective.
Now, let's not forget about that challenge that's plaguing e-commerce in India.
Oh, the high return rates,
The dreaded return,
a major headache for businesses, especially in categories like fashion and footwear.
where fit and sizing are crucial,
It's hurting profitability.
making operations a nightmare.
So the report breaks down the problem, right? Explains the different types of returns, return to origin, return to vendor.
And the factors that are contributing to them, like caught orders.
Yeah, cash on delivery, a big culprit.
It is.
Yeah.
But they also offer some practical solutions, like nudging customers towards prepayment,
Improving address management.
providing more detailed product information.
Yeah, to reduce that uncertainty.
And then there's this innovative solution that's gaining traction, try and buy.
I love this.
It allows customers to actually try on those clothes or shoes before deciding to keep them.
Reduces the risk of returns.
Improves customer satisfaction.
It's a win-win.
It is. And finally, the report concludes with a framework for engaging with the Indian diaspora.
The India segment.
This segment has immense potential.
Both as consumers and as a source of investment.
They have that strong emotional connection to India.
Yeah, they're eager to support businesses that align with their values, their heritage.
And the report provides a framework for understanding this diverse segment,
Yeah,
categorizing them based on affluence and affiliation with India.
it's a valuable tool.
It is for any brand looking to tap into this market.
And the key takeaway for me is authenticity.
Yeah.
They're not just looking for products.
They're looking for experiences that resonate with their cultural identity,
It's about tapping into that emotional connection.
creating a sense of belonging.
This concludes part 2 of our deep dive into the Indus Valley Annual Report 2025.
Welcome back to Weekend Hustlers.
We're wrapping up our deep dive into the Indus Valley Annual Report 2025.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. This report is packed with so many insights.
It really is, from the macro trends to, those really specific details about what's working, what's not. One of the most fascinating things for me was this whole concept of India as a digital welfare state.
Oh, yeah, that was a really interesting section.
Right. It's amazing how India is using technology to create this digital safety net,
Yeah, especially those DPI protocols like Aadhaar and UPI.
Right, using them for direct benefit transfers.
Delivering those benefits directly to citizens.
Think about the Jan Dhan Yoshana.
Yeah.
It's brought over 1 billion people into the formal financial system.
That's remarkable.
It is. It's a remarkable achievement.
And then UPI has revolutionized payments, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Making transactions so seamless.
For millions of people.
That's a game changer.
It really is.
But the report also makes this point that, this digital transformation needs constant evaluation,
Right.
improvement.
Yeah, we need to address things like data privacy.
Digital literacy gaps.
Make sure the regulatory framework is robust.
Yeah, for long-term success.
Absolutely. It's about using technology responsibly and inclusively.
Very true.
Another key takeaway for me was the analysis of India One, the top 10% of earnings.
Yeah, they're a powerful force.
They are. They're driving consumption, fueling the equity market, shaping the luxury landscape.
And that observation that India One is deepening rather than widening, that's crucial.
It is. It's a trend we need to watch closely.
Because this growing income inequality could have some serious consequences down the line.
Yeah, social and economic consequences.
Right. It's a reminder that while we celebrate economic growth, we also need to make sure it's inclusive.
Benefits everyone, right?
Exactly. Now let's talk about a segment that often gets overlooked, the Indian diaspora.
Oh, the India.
Yeah, the report calls them India,
They hold immense potential.
both as consumers and as a source of investment and innovation.
Right. They have that strong emotional connection to India,
They're eager to support businesses that align with their values.
their heritage.
Yeah, and the report provides this really helpful framework for understanding this diverse segment, categorizing them based on, affluence affiliation with India.
It's a valuable tool for brands.
It is for any brand looking to engage with this market.
And the key takeaway for me is authenticity.
Absolutely.
They're not just looking for products, they're looking for experiences.
Right, experiences that resonate with their cultural identity.
That's about tapping into that emotional connection, creating a sense of belonging.
Exactly. And, before we wrap up, I want to highlight the report's focus on those evolving Indus Valley playbooks.
The strategies for startups?
Yeah, navigating the Indian market.
So what are some of the key takeaways there?
Well, they emphasize the need to move beyond simply adapting Western models, It's about understanding the Indian consumer, leveraging local resources, creating solutions that are tailored to the Indian context.
We see this in the rise of innovative models like quick commerce, the focus on vernacular content,
Yeah.
the use of voice and microtransactions.
To reach a wider audience.
It's about being agile, adaptable, understanding the nuances of this market.
It's complex.
It is. It's ever evolving.
So to sum it all up, the Indus Valley Annual Report 2025 is a must-read for anyone who wants to understand India's startup ecosystem.
Absolutely. From the macroeconomics to consumer behavior.
Funding trends, sector-specific insights.
It has it all.
It's a testament to the immense potential of this ecosystem and its role in shaping India's economic future.
We encourage all our listeners to check out the full report at indusvalleyreport.com.
And don't forget to subscribe to Weekend Hustlers
on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
for more deep dives into the world of business and entrepreneurship.
Till next time, happy hustling.